What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. Before I get into the subject matter at hand, if you want to show love to this channel, I'll put a link in the description box where you can donate and show your love to this channel, to Too Raw for TV. I try to do the best videos I can for you guys. Now, let's talk about John Wick 3, man. The reason why I'm making this video is because something intrigues me about this film, the film before that, and the original one. Something that you almost never see with films. And that is usually sequels are a money grab. Sequels are a money grab. Studios, they see that the first film was very successful commercially, so they want to churn out another movie. The problem is usually, while the sequel might be somewhat successful, maybe a little bit more successful than the first movie. Oftentimes, what lacks in the second movie because they just churn one out is oftentimes the storyline, the characters, and the overall plot, and just the movie itself. It's just not as good as the first one. Okay. One movie that comes to mind is Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. All right. The first movie, we all know Home Alone is a classic. It's a Christmas, Thanksgiving, whatever holiday you want to look at it, watch it. It's a classic. All right. It's just unbelievable as far as the film is concerned. 1990. All right. The one that came out in 92, I think it did okay commercially. I don't think it was quite the hit that the first one was, but the storyline, it was a rehash pretty much of the first movie. And it just wasn't, it wasn't as funny as the first one. All right. Um, then you can have a movie like, let's say, um, some of the movie that comes to mind. All right. The Naked Gun. The Naked Gun movies with Leslie Nielsen and playing Frank Drebin. The first one was absolutely hilarious. The second one, The Naked Gun 2 and a Half, The Smell of Fear, came out in 91. The first one came out in 88. The second one came out in 91. Wasn't quite as funny as the first one, but it was still very funny. The last one, The Naked Gun 33 and the Third, The Final Insult, wasn't as funny. And it wasn't as successful, I think. And some of that might have had to do with the fact that I think during the theatrical run of that movie, that's when the O.J. Simpson murders happened, and that movie is now kind of seen a little bit as infamous. Uh, but anyway, also you can have a movie. I'm gonna get to the point. You can have a movie like Gremlins 2. All right, Gremlins 2 was actually a very, very, very good movie. All right, totally different scenery. Totally, in this movie, the first one was a horror movie. The second one was a comedy slash spoof. That's how they presented it, and it worked. But it wasn't the commercial success that the first movie was. And that kind of killed that potential, sequel. All right. What John Wick did in the first movie, John Wick was a modest success, all right? I think it had a budget of about $25 million. It made $88 million globally, and I think $43 million domestically. So it was a modest hit, all right. But the word of mouth, the I think the internet memes, YouTube clips, that had a lot to do with why the second movie, the second movie did better. But at the same time, John Wick 2 was also a critical success. It was a very, very good movie. Um, I think it made $79 million. Was it $79 million domestically? $172 million worldwide, and had a budget of $40 million. All right, so it improved almost. It almost doubled. Matter of fact, it almost doubled what the first movie did. But it was also a critical hit. It was a very, very good movie. John Wick 3, Chapter 3, Parabellum, is also, from word of mouth and from what critics are saying, it's a critical hit. Uh, Meaning that the critics love it. It's not just that moviegoers are going to a movie and they're paying a lot of money to see a movie that critics think is not very good. This movie is also seen as very good, and it has a budget. It had a budget of $55 million. But the crazy thing about this movie is that this weekend it made over $92 million globally, and I think $49 million domestically. Right. So what this means is that this movie's already made more money in one weekend than the first movie made during its entire theatrical run. And being that this is going to be a 3-day weekend, Memorial Day weekend, most people believe that this movie is going to make more money by next weekend than the second movie made during its entire theatrical run. So what you have here is a historic movie, a historic franchise. You don't see movies with each sequel usually, you don't usually see a sequel doing that much better than the prior movie, and at the same time remaining a critical success. What this shows to me is that John Wick 4 is going to happen. I mean, it's a no-brainer. And it's interesting, for Keanu Reeves at the age that he is now. I know he doesn't look his age, but I think Keanu Reeves is 54. How old is Keanu Reeves? Let me see something right quick. Because I was shocked at how old he is. Because you know, you forget, man, this guy's been around since like what, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventures and whatnot. Let's see. Keanu Reeves is, yeah, he's 54 years old. So he's at an age where most action stars are starting to transition. They're starting to slow down. You know what I'm saying? Not this guy. Some of it is the fact that he keeps himself in, I guess, great shape. He looks younger than his age, um, and he pretty much does most of, not all of his stunts in his movies. Um, so this it's just an interesting franchise to me, man. Um, from the first movie to be a modest hit, to the second movie being a solid hit, to the third movie being a borderline blockbuster. It's crazy, man. But tell me what you guys think, man.